Sometimes your DAX formula can look like this, when what you can do with a little Power Query is reduce it to this. I'm going to show you how. Let's go. Let's take a look at this example. I've got a couple of questions. I want to know the number of new customers each month and how many customers visited each month that are in the 100 club. And we're just categorizing this as anybody who's ever spent more than $100. So here's my data. I've got customer A, B, C, and D, and when they visited. Clearly, customer A spent more than $100 ever, in all their visits. Customer B hasn't, customer C has, customer D hasn't, customer E has. And here's my report. Number of new customers. So in January, we had one new customer. Let's check out who that was. Customer D, they visited in January for the first time. In March, we had 3 customers, A, B, and E. And then who visited? These 2 100 people, they were both in March. Yeah, A and E, they were both in March. Okay, so there's my answers. How did I get to this? Well, you can start writing some complicated DAX, and it might be the right answer. I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm just saying it's complicated. So dax.patterns.com from the SQL BI guys. This is an example of a DAX approach to solving this. Okay. Now I'm going to use Power Query to give me a couple of helper columns that can make my DAX just one line. This can often be the right approach in my view. If you're dealing with massive data sets or your solution becomes slow, then maybe DAX is the right option, but again, not always. I think good Power BI design can be a combination of Power Query helpers and DAX, both together. Okay, so one thing you do need for these types of date-based, number of new customers by month, you need a calendar table. And you can download one from our Excel Analytic website. I'll put a link in the descriptions below. We've got Power Query calendars, a timetable, dummy data sets, all sorts of stuff you can download. So check that out. Links in the description below. Right, let's get back to our demo. So I'm going to start off with this file here. All I've got is my calendar file loaded. Stay tuned to the end. I'll put a little link to the calendar table where you can jump to watch my video on that if you've never used a calendar before. But there's already one loaded. And look, I'm going to use Excel for this demo, and I'll show Power BI at the end as well. But it's the same principle. Power Query, load to the data model, write some DAX. You can do that in Excel. You can do it in Power BI. It's pretty much the same. So what I'm going to do is I am going to pull this data, in. So right click, get data from table/range. First of all, I'm going to get rid of these nulls. I only put these lines in to actually make it easier to read on that little demo. So I'm going to go for the remove empty option. That gets rid of nulls and blanks. Okay. Right, so my data is set up. So what I want to do is basically by customer work out the minimum date of sale and the total sales. And then just put a flag to say, hey, the total sales is greater than 100. So they're part of the 100 club. And also flag which of these dates was the first date of sale. So that's the plan. And I can do it using group by. So right click, group by, on the customer column or the customer ID column, ideally. So group by. And I am going to go to the advanced option and say, right, first date of sale is the minimum of the date of sale column. Okay. Then add another aggregation for total sales. And because we're doing a group by, this is doing it at a customer level. Okay. So total sales is the sum of the sales. And I can click OK here and we'll have a little look. first date of sale for customer A, total sales 120, so they're part of the 100 club. But I've lost the detail, so I want to get that back. So I go to the cog, and I want to add another aggregation that is just the data, and that's all rows. And click OK. So there, inside this little table, is all the data. Right, so before I expand this out, I'm just going to do a quick calc to say, hey, if this number is greater than 100, then put a flag of a 1, otherwise leave it empty. So I'm going to add a column, custom column, call it 100 club. And then we're just going to do a simple if statement. Okay, if total sales greater than 100, then 1, else null. Okay, and click OK. I could have done it this way. I could have gone via the little, I won't save that. I could have done it this way. Conditional column. Okay, add column, conditional column. Let's do it this way. Okay, call it 100 club. I call it a flag column. So if total sales is greater than, see how you can use the wizard, 100, then 1, and then in the else box, I'm just leaving it empty. So click OK. So there's the people who are in the 100 club. All right, I'm then going to, I don't really need this total sales column anymore. And to be honest, I don't need this customer column. So I could remove those, but I might wait a second until I've expanded out this step. So let's expand this out. I've already got customer, so I don't need that. Date of sale, sales, need those. All good, okay. So then I want to just say, hey, does this date of sale match this first date of sale? And if it does, give me a 1, okay. So let's go to the conditional column. First sale flag. So if first date of sale equals, select a column, the date of sale, then a 1, and again, else I'm just leaving it as nulls. So here's my flag for each customer when their first date of sale happened. So all I want to keep is, you could either get rid of the ones you don't need, might be easier, or keep the ones you want to keep. So I'll just go for, let's just get rid of, I don't need the first date of sale. I don't need the total sales. So right click, remove. I want the sales, I want the 100 club. Okay, and let's just make this a little bit wider so we can see it all. Right, so then we can just hold down Shift when we select these, keep your finger on Shift, click on this, and you can just say whole number. You could even say true, false if you wanted to. Let's just go whole number. Okay, doesn't take up much memory because it's just an integer. Okay, it's not going to swell up your model in terms of size. Your refresh will take a bit longer because you're doing this group and calcs, but your DAX is going to be simpler. Check it out. Right, so I'm done. Okay, so that's my data source. Let's call this my sales data. Right, so we're good. Home, close and load to. So in Excel, you've got to go close and load to. In Power BI, you just say close and apply. This little box pops up. Only create connection, add to the data model, click OK. Then you've got to go into your Power Pivot data model. So you go data, manage the data model. If you haven't got that button, then just, or if you've already got that, you can go Power Pivot, manage, same thing. Okay, that little green button. You have to hook up your data to your calendar. So diagram view. This replaces all the XLOOKUPs and VLOOKUPs. I'm sure people are familiar with this now who are following this channel. So date of sale hooks up to date. All good. Okay, close. Right, I now want to write some DAX. So I've got to insert a little pivot table somewhere. So let's go insert pivot table from the data model. Existing worksheet will do. I could have gone for new worksheet. I want to go there, click OK. All right, and here's my pivot tables. I'll put them over the side. You can detach this, by the way, if you want to. Just move it around. So what I'm going to do, I want to put in the rows, let's put years, so calendar year in the row and month. And then I want to work out the number of new customers. And this is where your measures come in, your DAX formula. Now I could right click and add a measure and it brings up this box. However, I don't like this user interface, especially when doing demos, because every time you press tab, it zooms back out and things. It's not great. So what I'm going to do is actually go to the Power Pivot menu, over to Measures and New Measure. Now I recommend right-clicking and adding that to the Quick Access toolbar, so you don't have to jump around here, but that's another thing. So, New Measure. Add it to your sales data, and we'll call it New Customers. Okay. So I want to calculate, I want to work out the number of distinct customers each month. So if a customer came 3 times in the month, I just want to count them once. So I want to do a distinct count, but then I want to filter it where the new customer flag is 1. So I want to write calculate to apply an extra filter in here, really, okay, to change the filter that's being applied. So calculate the distinct count. And in this box, you can zoom in and the color scheme shows up and things like this. So it's just a nicer user interface than the right click option. So calculate distinct count, sales data customer, okay, or customer code. And what do you want to do? It's where the sales data first sale flag equals 1. Close the bracket. Or I've got to close the bracket on the distinct count. Okay, and really you should do Shift Enter to make it nice and easy to read. Shift Enter, Shift Enter. In Power BI, that auto indents, so that's nice. But in here we're done. So number, 1000 separator, whole number. That's it. Okay, that's new customers. Check out that formula, okay, compared to that formula. Now, I'm not saying my formula works in all scenarios that this one tries to handle, but it pretty much is a nice, simple to understand formula. Here's a flag for the first sale. That's when it happened. Whereas you're digging around in here to work out what's going on. So that's my formula. Okay. Right number, click OK. And there we go. We've got our answer. Okay, then we right click, pivot table options, display, show data, so show items with no data on the rows, and that gives us all our months. Okay. And here's the same thing in Power BI. You know, you would use get data from Excel workbook, suck that table in, do all exactly the same things, load the data, go to the model view, hook up your date of sale to your calendar, okay, and then you right click and you say new measure, and then you write a measure like this. And you put it into a little matrix visual. So same thing in Power BI. Okay, back to Excel. So there's new customers. And then one more, we're going to go Power Pivot, Measure, New Measure. Okay, this is 100 club visits. Let's say it's visits to the store. Oops. Okay. Equals, again, calculate distinct count of sales data customers. Okay, comma, where 100 club flag equals 1. Close the bracket. Check your DAX formula. What have I done here? Sales data club, too many brackets on the end. Thank you very much. Awesome. Number, 1000 separator, whole number. Click OK. And there we are. There's your answers. So I hope you see that using Power Query to add some helper columns can really help simplify a DAX. It happens more often than not. Okay, it can really help. So let me know what you think. Do you think Power Query is a valid tool to assist in making DAX simpler? Is that the right approach? Do you have a contrary view? Love getting your feedback. I'll put a little link will pop up in a second to the calendar video that I did, and a time one as well. I'll put links in the show notes below. Let people know about the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.